listening to Sudbury News Talk.
I want to show you something.
Stand by. On the morning shift.
Anything
could happen.
Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift.
Hey everyone, welcome to Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift. I'm AJ Walsh. I'm glad to be here with you. I'm thankful that you're here with us. And I'm just getting started this morning. We weren't on yesterday. I apologize for that. My health, my throat had a really sore throat and a tight chest and whatever. And I was fighting it for a few days, and over the weekend it just came on with a vengeance. I thought it was on its way out, but yesterday I just thought maybe a little bit of rest would have done the trick, and voila, here we are. It has done the trick. A little bit of a discombobulation starting the show on the air on CKLU 96.7 this morning. I apologize for that. I was just getting everything up and running for our new segment that we have for our weather. We have a partner on board and wanted to make sure everything was running good, and everything looks good so far. And it's going to be a great show today, I promise. We are at June the 4th, 2024 already. Time is flying. Before you know it, it'll be officially summer. And then here we go. We're into things already. When you think of June, what do you think about? Like when you think of June, what's the first thing that comes to your mind, right? We'll be talking about that a little bit later in the show. And it may be a little bit controversial. I don't know. I don't think it's controversial myself. I think any conversation is fair game. But when you think of June, and I know a lot of people are seeing a lot of things on social media and whatever of they designate certain months, certain things and whatever, and different holidays. We've had some traditional holidays and now some new holiday type things, and not everything is as it was, and things evolve and things change and whatever. And we'll talk about how our landscape in our world, in our community, in our broader world is changing today on a larger scale. And we'll have some local news headlines. We'll have the deep dive, like I said, into where we're going as a society and where we've come from, where we're going. Do you agree with where we are going? Do you want to, just kind of throw the baby out with the bathwater in terms of, being as progressive as we can be? Or do you want to maintain a little bit of tradition? Like, what tradition do you want to hold on to? What tradition do you want to throw out and get rid of? Should we just burn it all down and start all over again, which seems to be the flavor of the month in the country in which we are in at the moment. So yeah, it'll be a conversation anyways for later. So make sure to comment if you're on Facebook or YouTube. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe, and follow all of our social media channels. We're live on CKLU 96.7 FM, as I said earlier. We're also streaming at cklu.ca online. Click on the Radio Player Canada app or download the app, and you can take us with you and listen to us anywhere, anytime on your favorite device. Facebook Live in video format, and at facebook.com/Sudbury News and youtube.com/Sudbury News as well. So on those two platforms, you can comment live after the show. The show lives on demand at Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, now X, and Sudbury.news, our web page, which is our website, which is a local news aggregator. All the news comes into one location. And you click on the Sudbury News Talk tab on the top right area of the website, and then we have the show lives on demand. So you can't really comment on any other platform after the show other than on Facebook. So you can continue the conversation there, and we encourage people to do that, even though Facebook doesn't like the fact that people are having conversations. They actually say that's one of the reasons why this particular show cannot be monetized, is because we can encourage conversations. Can you imagine that? Can't be monetized because we encourage people to actually chime in on what they feel. I thought that was the whole reason for social media myself, but I don't know. It's an interesting world we live in. All right, well, let's dive right into the show. It's going to be great. We're going to have some, like I said, some local headlines and some more serious issues as we talk about our society today and where we're at. And, there's an interview that was just done talking about medical assistance in dying. It's one of the things that there's so many issues going on in our society. I think we're being bombarded. We're being carpet bombed with issues. You don't even know which one to focus on when and what. Talk about pick your battles. There's so many things going on. Our world is getting more and more confusing. People are confused. It's getting more and more divided. People are, getting, there's no longer a fence kind of thing. You're either on one side or another, it seems. And conversations are getting extinct where people are able to actually speak to one another and calmly, just work out our issues. And I think that's by design. Myself, that's my own personal point of view on that. And, so we'll do our best to actually bring it back into some kind of civility and have a conversation that everybody can be a part of on what is called Sudbury News Talk, right here on CKLU 96.7 FM. But to kick things off, we want to start off with our new partner who is coming in to take care of our weather portion of the show, and we're happy to bring on as a partner Duck Check. So there we have it. Duck Check is our partner in covering the weather segment of the show, and we're happy to bring them on. We'll talk a little bit about them right after the weather, but currently it is 15 degrees. It's mostly cloudy out there. It's mainly cloudy with a 40% chance of showers this afternoon. Fog patches dissipating this morning. Wind becoming south 20 kilometers late this morning, high of 25. UV index will be 6, and the humidex, it'll feel like 30 degrees out there. Tonight, partly cloudy. Clearing late this evening. Wednesday, mainly sunny, increasing cloudiness in the morning. Then 40% chance of showers in the afternoon. Risk of a thunderstorm in the afternoon. Wind becoming south 20 kilometers, gusting to 60 in the morning, high of 26. It'll feel like 31, however, and the UV index will be 7 or high. Look at your long range. Doesn't look too great here. So Wednesday, 40% chance of showers, 26 degrees, like we said. 60% chance of showers on Thursday, high of 19. Also 60% chance of showers on Friday with a high of 20, 40% chance of showers. Saturday with a high of 22, then cloudy on Sunday, and the only kind of time we have a little bit of sun there is forecast on Monday with a mix of sun and cloud, high of 22. So looks like it's going to be a bit wet. And if you look at the satellite image, you can kind of see why. There's a lot of cloud activity over the entire area of, pretty much all the way over Manitoba, Quebec, Northern Ontario, Central and Southern Ontario. It's and then some of the precipitation activity over Sault Ste. Marie coming towards us, and that's where you get that rain activity. And that's your Sudbury weather, brought to you by Duck Check. So make sure to give Duck Check a call if you are interested in getting your ducks clean, which I would highly recommend. And if you let them know that we sent you, they'll give you $100 off your next duck cleaning. And duck cleaning is definitely part of a healthy environment and making sure you're breathing clean air. So make sure to give Duck Check a call, 705-918-4848, or just check out duckcheck.com and let them know that we sent you for your $100 off. We'll be back with news headlines, your comments and more right after this. All right, and we are back, and we just wanted to welcome again our new partner, Duck Check, and thank you for that. And we just worked on that little segment and tried to make sure that it looked fine, and so we're expecting to not only have a partner for the weather. We'll have a partner for sports and for news headlines and maybe gas prices, things like that as we try and make the show sustainable going into the future. And we appreciate local partners so that way we can help contribute to local business, to buy local and support local business because they're the backbone of our community. And also be able to keep this conversation going on the air as long as we can, right? So we're grateful for Steve and his company Duck Check and being the first to sponsor or to be our partner here on the show, which is also a sponsor as well. So, okay, so let's just check in on who's with us this morning. I know we have quite a few people, and we, again, apologize for not being on yesterday. I'm not sure what's happening here, but yeah, it's an interesting morning. It's definitely an interesting morning. There's something in the air. I'm not sure what it is. It might be pollen for all I know. But I know it's allergy season. A lot of people suffering from allergies out there. And good morning, Nancy, first on YouTube. Blessings. Hope you're feeling better today. And I am. I'm feeling a lot better today. That rest did me good yesterday. Thank you for that, Nancy. Much appreciated. And Judy on Facebook here. Good morning to you. Hope you're having a good morning as well. As Marianne. Hello, everyone. Good morning from Barrie. Liked and shared as usual. Appreciate that. And Monique. Good morning, Sudbury, with a smiley emoji, a sunshine emoji. Yes, I wish we would get some sunshine out here. We had a little bit. It was thwarted by some cloud-like activity over the weekend, unfortunately. But yeah, it was supposed to be all sunny. Marianne says, no need to apologize. Hope you're feeling better soon. Thank you very much. And David, good morning. Take care. Stay safe. And I would add healthy. It's great to see you back on these past couple of weeks, David. And I know that you've went through some health things yourself, and I hope that you're feeling a lot better too. It's yeah, I've been thinking about you quite a bit and hoping for a recovery, and I'm hoping that you are fully recovered and everything is going well. Belinda, good morning. Usually have a positive statement of the day. And here we go. The world isn't getting worse or darker. The veil sheltering you from reality is lifting. The truth will set us free, and it may not be for everyone. Yeah, truth isn't for everyone, and truth is kind of hard, right? You ever just get a cold dose of truth? You thought one way for a long time, and then you realized, wait a minute, that's not the way things are, or that's not true, or I thought that person was my friend, or I thought something was the way it was, and then, I thought as soon as I had an education, I would just get a job right away, or I thought money would make me happy. So many life lessons that it's when you get the truth, and it does kind of set you free, but it's hard in the first place sometimes to go through that, correct? Sorry about that, but it is what it is. But it is freeing, and if we allow ourselves to let the process happen. Excuse me, I got a bit of wheezing going on from what I'm just recovering from, so I apologize for that if we can hear that. So Monique, good day, people. Smiley emoji, heart emoji, much appreciated. Also Belinda, yes, I am feeling better, but just a little bit of remnants of what's left, I guess, just there. And Jerome, good morning from Timmins, just heading underground. Have to watch tonight. Have a safe and peaceful day, y'all. So thanks, Jerome. Much appreciated. Have a great day in Timmins. We were just there a couple of weeks ago, and love Timmins. I look at it as Sudbury's little brother or little sister kind of thing. It's a very Sudbury-like place. It's, the main industry, the landscape, everything, the roads even, very similar to Sudbury. And Monique, have a great day. Stay safe. And you as well. Jerome, agreed. All by design. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. I will be feeling better. I am feeling better already. Pat, good morning, everyone, and glad you're feeling better. Thank you. Thank you, Pat. Good morning to you. Vin, morning. And Josiah, morning, beautiful people, exclamation point, ×2. And Maurice, good morning, with a smiley sunshine or a smiley emoji. Smiley emoji, much appreciated. Every smiley emoji just looks like a sun to me anyways, and that's it's amazing just how the smallest things can make us feel better, right? So today we'll take a little bit of a foray into what's going on in our broader sense of our country and in our world. I guess it's like our country is a microcosm of our world. Our world is going highly progressive in many ways. Certain countries aren't, like the more ones that are on the rise to become the next powers. They're not progressive one bit, and I think that's probably a reason why they're getting more and more powerful. But we are very progressive. We're willing to try anything and go all in. And even if it's not, hasn't been proven yet, we don't care. We'll try anything. And that's what progressivism is, I guess. And if you could be sometimes too progressive, that you become regressive, that's where I would think the boat we're in at the moment. Like, we're trying everything out. Let's just, the whole idea, just take one progressive idea, for example, which is, okay, so maybe you have an issue, right? And the way you're going to handle it is progressively. So we were filling up our prisons with people that were, had some marijuana on them, let's say. And so that's not right. We shouldn't be putting all our resources into, arresting people and charging them and taking, all the time up in court and then putting them in jail for periods of time and feeding people that are been convicted of having marijuana. Let's just legalize it. Let's legalize it. That's the progressive solution. So one other solution would be let's just not criminalize it. If you have it on your possession or whatever, it's okay to have a certain amount, and unless you're out there selling it or whatever, and then it's not a crime, right? And that would solve it. So that's one way of doing it. But oh no, let's totally legalize it, and let's make a pot shop on every corner and make more pot shops than Tim Hortons, and actually promote the hell out of it. That's a whole other take on it. And then not only that, let's just legalize all the other drugs too while we're at it, because why just legalize one drug? That's not fair to all the other drugs. You got to legalize all of them. And then how about we, as people are becoming more and more addicted to them, let's take our taxpayer dollars and give them free drugs. Let's just give them drugs because they're addicted now and they can't get off of it. And there's dangerous drugs out there, so you don't want them to take that. So let's just give them tax-paid free drugs, and then tell them that they're actually off drugs. Well, you give them a different drug that's on taxpayers' dime as well, in terms of a drug called methadone, right? Where you're told you're actually off drugs when really you're just on another, almost just as addictive drug that gives you a high too, and it's just a different name, but you're told you're clean if you're on that drug. So let's do that. That's a progressive way of handling it. Instead of just, okay, let's just not put people in jail if they have a little bit of marijuana on them. And it's okay. If you want to do that, we just won't arrest you. Just don't go out and sell it or promote it or whatever. And let's just keep the other harmful drugs just right where they are, because we don't want it to be pervasive throughout our society and let our younger generation feel that it's okay to do whatever drug you want and try it. Because let's say you just try heroin once, right? You try just once. That's all. Don't worry about it. You got to try everything once, right? You got to try it to know if it's right or wrong. You can't just know it's right or wrong because of science and scientific facts that prove it's wrong. You got to find out for yourself, right? So try heroin just once, right? Just to see how you like it. But guess what happens when you try it just once? You could become addicted to it right off the hop. So the way that we're progressively going about handling the issue of, marijuana, people that have marijuana and when we arrest them when it's illegal and it's taking up court time and taking up our jails and all that, and it's not right, and it isn't right. So what happens is when an issue comes up, the debate comes, the progressives come in, and you got a little crack in the door open, they bust the door down with like a SWAT team and go in with all their resources. When you give a little crack, when there's a little issue out there, there's one issue, again, that's what ends up happening. And now you have full on, talking to my brother in BC yesterday. He lives in Langley, which is a suburb of Vancouver, pretty much. And East Vancouver, he's talking about personally driving through East Vancouver. And he says, basically, it's hell on earth. It's hell on earth. So you see the results of legalizing hard drugs and just being able to do whatever drug you want, whenever you want. They make an epidemic. So they make the problem so then they can give the solution, and their solution is more drugs. So give them more drugs because the drugs on the street are dangerous. So now we need to give them clean drugs. And he was saying it's hell on earth. And he was talking about how it's systemically an international drug racket as well, because you have international players in the whole drug market, and they bring the drugs in. And they own the ports, and the Hells Angels own the ports. And then you have the mafia, the international mafia that control the drugs. They bring them in. The government's basically just giving them an open door to just come in and do whatever you want. They're actually making policies and stuff that encourage the criminal activity. So they come in, they got their hard drugs. And so they don't try stopping it. What they do is they say, we need to combat it with more drugs. We need free, clean drugs to give these people so that way they don't overdose. But either way, they're just zombified. So they're all zombies now walking around the streets. These international cartel people and our own cartel in this country take the money they make and they go to the casino and they gamble a little bit with it. And then they turn all the rest of their money with they buy a bunch of chips and they gamble a little bit, and then they go and cash in those chips. So it's a way to launder. It's an easy way to just launder the money, easy peasy. Now they have clean money from the casino. They bring in the dirty money from the drugs. They buy a bunch of chips. They go gamble a little bit. Some of them might even win more money with it, and then come back and just cash in all the chips, and now you got clean money, perfectly laundered. It's a great system, and look, it's that simple. We know the system. No one's doing anything about it. No one's like what? So it's pretty crazy. Now you have Toronto wanting the exact same model as British Columbia, and it's just, again, it's hell on earth. People are walking around killing each other on the streets, and it's all open. It's like open for business. It's like a whole tent city within a city. They have just makeshift shacks everywhere. People walking around stoned out of their minds. It's terrible. But now Toronto wants that. Like, can you imagine? Because they have a super progressive mayor. Super progressive people want that. Like, why? They want that. Who wants that? Like, where is progressive? Like, what is the good side of progressive? Like, I like progressive. If it's actually going to lead to something that's good. How is that progressively anything positive? Like, give me a break. Like, what are we thinking in this country? Anyways, so good morning, Brian. Thanks for being with us as I try and get my mouse to work here. A sick society is the end goal to control society, whether it's big pharma or legalized drugs. That's Belinda. Yeah, well said. Josiah says, we live in a matrix and it's incredibly difficult to understand people who don't see it. And that is true. Yes, there is. You got to kind of wake up, and that's Josiah. Thank you very much for that. And Bob says, methadone, just as addictive. I don't know a single person who has gotten off of it besides being dead. And I know a whole lot of people on it. Yep. And I appreciate that confirmation from what I was saying, because I have the same experience with people that I know that are in the same boat. It's true. Belinda says every medical health officer that went with the hard drug program needs to be held accountable. BC's Bonnie Henry is on the ropes right now. Thank you for that, Belinda. And Marianne says exactly. They created the problem and act like they are the savior. And that is a form of, governance, right? You create the problem so you can come in and have a solution. But you created the problem because you know the solution. There's a higher thing that's going on here. It's not just, I don't believe it's incompetence. I really don't. I don't think they're that dumb. I think it's all part of a, and my brother just came out to say that it's really making a lot of people a lot of money, because a lot of the international money that's made from the drugs too, they just buy up all the real estate too there and drive up real estate prices to the point where no one can afford anything in Vancouver, especially. And again, Toronto is right there already, but they want to make it even more like Vancouver, like BC. They just want to go all the way in. Like what? You don't see with your eyes and hear with your ears. You don't see what's going on. Like it's an experiment that's gone horribly wrong. You don't want the exact same thing in Toronto. And then you have people in Sudbury who want the exact same. They're on board with Toronto. Like, bring it here, man. Bring it here. We need that. We need more of that here. Again, it's because certain people are getting rich that are in positions of power, and they're the ones pushing for these things because they're going to get rich. And my brother said too, like, don't you understand, like, you people that are getting rich off this, don't you really realize you're not going to be able to enjoy your riches for very long as society is crumbling as bad as it is? Like, you're selling it out for very temporary gain. It's very temporary, and very shortly in the future, whatever you sold us out to isn't going to reward you at all. Like, it's going to come back to bite you. You're selling yourself out for nothing. And everybody. So whoever's getting rich off these things, it's really not benefiting you or your family. Think of your kids. Think of, like, can't even think of your grandkids, for crying out loud. It's not even going to get that far. That's how progressively deteriorated we're getting in the country. It's all about control. That's Monique. And Marianne says, I believe they are bringing it all by design. And I'd have to as well agree with that. It has to be by design. It's not incompetence. Bob says, Bonnie Henry, LOL. Oh, yes, I got the inside joke there. So Monique says, of course, it's an agenda. What do you think the war on Iraq was all about? And I agree with you on that as well. They give you a reason why they're doing it, which isn't the real reason. It's for money and power and control and all that. But then they make a scenario for you that you got to buy into it. It's like, oh, no, there's weapons of mass destruction there that are going to, they can come over and nuke us anytime if we don't go and take care of them first, right? So we all know after it's done that it was just a crock of you know what. So, okay, Marianne says, look into the OD deaths in BC. Just so sad and heartbreaking. Sad emoji and a heartbreak emoji, exactly. Those making money don't care about the lives they destroy, Marianne. And Belinda says, deep state and long-term plan to demolish the Western society. That's why we look at like a third world country. And I'll even add we're looking like a third world country more and more and more. And we can see where we're heading on the path, on our road. It's like when you're on a trip and you see a sign that says, you're in the prairies and it says, Alberta is so far away, and you can kind of see the mountains in the distance. And if you keep traveling towards those mountains, they're going to get bigger and bigger. Eventually you're going to be in the mountains because you see the road you're on. You see the road, it's straight towards the mountains. You're going there. We're going straight to destruction here in our Western society. All roads are leading there, and I don't see a U-turn anywhere in the short horizon, and that's just not going to be good for any one of us, right? So, okay, so we'll get more into that a little bit later in the show. Let's look at a few local headlines here from Sudbury.news, our local news aggregator. Laurentian University, part of an effort to expand mining education. So they're working with universities across Canada to improve the scope of knowledge and new information in mining education. Well, you would hope that Laurentian University would be doing that from where we are located. And they're also here. I got to get the story where I had it here, and it's I must have went right over it because that's what I do sometimes. Anyways, so it's definitely a longer and tougher conversation, Laurentian University says, trying to rebuild trust with their donors. So it's one thing to maybe put more emphasis in mining and be a mining leader as a university, but if you just went bankrupt, that's a really hard sell for people, right? So Laurentian University says it has taken steps to make sure money donated, for scholarships and bursaries isn't spent elsewhere. But it's little comfort for those who say they still don't know what happened to the thousands they gave to Northern Ontario's largest university. So there are a lot of people who gave money to support Laurentian University over the years, and then through the bankruptcy and whatever, where did their money go? Like, it went towards for students and whatever, right? So this is a CBC article here. So Laurentian... So it's Chief Financial Advancement Officer Tracy McLeod said of Sudbury School's financial crisis, it's awful. And kicked off with the declaration of insolvency in 2021. It's really tough for anyone who cared about Laurentian University. It was revealed during the bankruptcy protection proceedings that some of the money donated to Laurentian to create bursaries or scholarships was spent to cover other costs of the university. Not too responsible of them to do that. If you want to create trust with future donors of your university, McLeod says there are $47 million in the university's endowment fund, $35 million of which goes to scholarships. Those donations are large enough that the interest paid out makes them self-perpetuating. Interesting. But the university says in a statement that there was approximately $2.5 million of non-endowed one-time donations earmarked for scholarships, $900,000 of which went to the students, which the balance included future budgets to be distributed to students. McLeod says that her staff are working individually with those contributors to reconnect and engage as meaningfully as possible, especially when the bursary or scholarship they donated to is for a program that was cut during Laurentian's financial crisis, including everything from political science department to the swim team. Yeah, what's going on with that pool anyways? That's what I want to know. That's just sitting there, a big Olympic-sized pool, ready to be used, but what the heck? So Belinda says, watch videotapes of Japan and Russia walking down the streets, and it's clean. No homelessness. Everybody's productive. Now walk down the streets of Sudbury, Toronto, and big cities right across Canada. We are sinking. Yes, I would agree with that for sure. Marianne says, do a dive into politicians and see how many drink excessively and do drugs. Might surprise you. I do not disagree with you on that at all, Marianne, at all. Good morning, Denise. Thanks for being with us. Have a wonderful day. Stay safe and healthy. Thanks for the show. Learn a lot of stuff here, liked and shared. Thank you, Denise, for that. Appreciate you being on. And thank you very much, Trevor here. Usually shares some really great links for other information. Your government mandated an injection that was now being removed from the market because it's killing people all over the world at random. Just a friendly reminder of what safe and effective means. Yeah, TM, yeah, trademarked, safe and effective. Now get out there and do your best and make a living so that you can give half of what you've earned to those same people who demanded that you take this deadly injection or you'd lose your job. Have a good shift. No, don't sugarcoat things, Trevor, or beat around the bush, please. Okay, so turns out that you're really, really proud of something that you can gather with a bunch of other people to do are also really, really proud of something and just show your wing to people in the streets, and everyone else will just pretend that it's not weird just so that they can avoid being called mean names by those people who don't think that is so weird. Neat. And I know what you're alluding to, and that's a good segue into what we'll be talking about next here. So thanks for that. Good morning. Wishing everybody a happy and safe day. So yes, what Trevor's alluding to is what I started the show off with is what is June? June, right? June is a month. It's one of the 12 months out of the year. There's 12 months. January, February, March, April, May, and so on. And here we are in June. And we'll have, months after this every month. And then so we start dedicating different months to be, to dedicate to certain causes and certain things. And there's a day for everything. Every day is some day. It's like armpit hair day or, dust flying through the air day. Baby sippy cup day. There's days for everything. Everything's got a day, right? Some days feel like they have more meaning than others. And what is the meaning of these days? So if you think of traditionally, we have different holidays and days that we celebrate, or we just kind of say, okay, this month is the month of this. Not so much a month, but you have maybe a week or a day, couple days that we celebrate things. What are we celebrating? If you look at historically things that traditionally in our Western culture we celebrate, right? Let's just take one that just passed us by. So it was Easter, the Easter weekend. So you have a Good Friday, which is for a purpose, right? What is Good Friday about? All you people out there would possibly know. And then you have Sunday, which is what is the Sunday for? And one of them is a holiday off of work, right? So you have a holiday. So we've traditionally held to different holidays and celebrations of different varieties, and they have a meaning to them. And what's happened in our Western society is that a lot of people have had a backlash to our traditional holidays that we've had. And there's, get rid of the traditional, mainly Judeo-Christian values and holidays around that belief structure, right? So it isn't much to go into and look at why we might be celebrating that. Now, you may or may not subscribe to those beliefs or believe in what those holidays are about, right? And that's fine. You're not excluded from that. And how many of you, even though you don't really believe in what it's for, still celebrate it to some degree? Have a dinner, get together with family, and celebrate it, right? And really, what are you celebrating? What are the ideas that you're celebrating on that day? Like, what is it for, right? It's the idea that we as people may not be entirely perfect, and we need help in order to rise above ourselves and reach for something higher, is really what it comes down to. And there is a central figure in that idea that encapsulated everything to do with that, and was to overcome whatever obstacles we have as human beings. And through that particular being, you can then ascend into something higher than yourself. And so we celebrate that. That's okay. And whether you believe it or not, the concept of that, of reaching higher than you and having somebody who's going to facilitate that for you or with you and help you overcome and be better and reach higher levels, that's what we celebrate. So Isaiah, yeah, you kind of get what we're talking about here, that June is Pride Month. It's the LGBTQ2S plus people telling other people they put what they do with their anatomy. I'll just kind of censor that. And I don't care what people do and don't need to accept your action being right. Praise the Lord Jesus of Nazareth. Okay. Thank you very much for that. And so you're basically saying, what people choose to do with their anatomy is what it really boils down to. And we need to celebrate that. So let's look at what we're celebrating, right? If you look at the traditional things we're celebrating, whether you agree with it or not, what are we really celebrating in June now that we've gotten rid of the old history, the old tradition, right? And now we're into this new progressive idea of what we need to be celebrating now. Now, go out with all that other stuff, hocus pocus, right? We need to be celebrating these new things now that we have, right? And don't worry, everyone's invited to the party. It's all inclusive. It's all inclusive. Nobody's left out, and it's all loving. It's all for virtuous reasons, and it's everyone's welcome. But I kind of saw the writing on the wall with this movement. The movement itself, sure, that people can be of a alternative lifestyle, and it's okay. I'm on board with that. Live and let live, and I really do feel that. But what happened was every movement, like every movement, is hijacked by a group of people that want to move society in a certain direction of progressivism that's really not beneficial for society itself. So the causes get hijacked, and then people don't realize the causes are hijacked. They just really believe in love and unity and everyone getting along. If you really ask them about it, they don't believe in hatred and exclusion and wishing harm on people. They really don't do that. But the people that control that movement, because it's been hijacked, they do want that. They don't want good things to come out of it. And I'll show that here. So yesterday I saw some interesting posts coming out of Facebook, and here's one here. I'll just get it up on the screen so everyone can see. And you probably saw it too, because it's pretty popular post on Facebook. It just seems like everyone can't get enough of it. They're sharing the heck out of it. And if I can get my thing to work, oh yeah, it's just not working. Okay, now here we go. All right, so here you go. So you have the symbol, which is a hijacked symbol anyways, the symbol that is hijacked by this movement, the Pride movement, and it's not really by the people that are really, it's a hijacked movement. It's not really by the people who genuinely want what the message originally stated, that it's all inclusive, it's for everybody. It's been hijacked. And they hijacked a symbol, a Judeo-Christian symbol that comes from the Old Testament, where God destroyed the world through a flood, and then after the flood made a promise that he wouldn't do it again, and the promise was done through the symbol of the rainbow. So that's why, that's the story that goes, that's told of the reason why we have a rainbow, because it's a promise from God that he will not destroy the world by a flood ever again. And so that's traditionally what that symbol meant. It's a symbol of hope, a symbol of that we will, we can live on the earth and not get so out of hand that we need to kind of have a reset, a restart. So anyway, so that's the symbol. It's a symbol of love to begin with, but it's been hijacked by this movement. So now that's the symbol. If you see the rainbow, you don't think of that covenant that was made from God to the people, that the world won't be destroyed through a flood. You think that's pride. So again, they hijacked a symbol. But not only that, it started all inclusive, and that everybody was coming to the party and everyone's accepted. And so it sounds religious in and of itself that, Christianity already had the same thing. Everyone's loved and accepted to the point of even loving your enemies, for crying out loud. Why did we need a whole other movement to tell us anything different? But here you go. Here it is. So all inclusive. But this is now where it's going to, and I knew that's where it was going to be heading already. So we're wishing all the homophobes a super uncomfortable month. So this is from the all-inclusive, all-loving, everybody is welcome to the party group, right? So now you're starting to see the real intent of the real message now. Everyone's welcome to the party if you think like we do, and if you don't, you're not welcome to the party. And if anything, we hate you. We actually detest anyone who doesn't go along with what we feel is right. Right? So this is what you get. So they're poking the bear here. Wishing all the homophobes a super uncomfortable month. Like, what kind of positive message is that? Imagine if Jesus came out and said, poking the bear like that. Anyways, so, okay. So Brian, as you're sharing the message, they're coming up live on the show, just so you know. Here you go. So that's where we're at here. So I just for the heck of it, I went through this, the city came out on the city's Facebook page and declared Pride Month. Hey, we're celebrating Pride Month. Make sure everybody, goes along with this, right? Because the city wants to support this cause. And now I said to myself, okay, so let's see if they also came out in support of Easter and said it's the Easter season at least, or it's even a holiday season which we want to kind of put out there and commemorate in some way or another. So I went through all the way from the beginning of April, kept going through, and I couldn't find one message from the city saying, it's Easter, let us all kind of enjoy time with our family at this time of year or whatever, or wishing everybody a happy Easter season, or even make an attempt to say holiday season. You know how they're trying to rename it now and stuff like that. No attempt whatsoever. But yes, they did for this. So what's happened is our society in general is throwing out tradition in our Western culture that we've had that's actually made the West so strong. We've been the strongest, most dominant entities for so many years. It's unprecedented. And the reason why is because we built it on those traditional values. That's what it comes down to. And now because we have all that, and we have so much for so long, we've had it so good because of those traditions, it allows then for people to start questioning that and saying, look, why do we do things the way we do? Why can't we think differently? Why can't we do this, do that, and do the other? And think really progressively, because we have all the food we want. We have all the protection, all the security, everything's great. We have great education. We have such a great quality of life. So now we can start thinking outside the box, right? Just thinking different ways and throw all that out and start new. So we take the prayer out of the schools. We can't talk about God anymore or religion. You're not allowed to do that, but you then replace it. Either you have religion or you have ideology. And now, so we've replaced religion, which arguably, there's so many different religions out there, and it isn't the greatest system in the world, because even though there can be one truth, there's many religions and many ways of spinning it, and sure, but again, do you throw the baby out with the bathwater and then just burn it all down and start all over? Like, what are we doing here, right? So we've replaced that, which, again, you can make an argument that it wasn't the greatest and there was certain things we needed to improve on, which you are 100% right? But now what have we replaced it with? Now what are we going to have, right? So everyone has to agree with this, or you're shunned. This all-inclusive kumbaya, everybody has a place at the table, which isn't true, so stop saying it. You only want diversity of color of skin and all the things like that, like gender and race, but ideology of thought or freedom of thought, you have no room for that, of anyone thinking any different than you. So you're very inclusive. You're not inclusive. You're very uninclusive, right? So if you don't agree with me, you're not welcome to the table. So you're not inclusive. So I digress in a lot of ways, right? So we'll have more on that as it goes on. And I wasn't prepared to talk about this, but it's just something that I did notice on our city's on our city's Facebook page, that it wasn't nothing to say about Easter or any holidays like that, traditional holidays, but we've adopted the new holidays that we've just most recently come on board with. And we're just going to have a lot of shows on CBC this month talking about how much people hate. Well, the ideology that I subscribe to, I don't hate anybody. I actually love everybody. To the point of having to strain to love my enemies, even people that go out of their way to hurt me, go out of their way to say bad things about me, to gossip about me, to destroy my life. I've had people actually go out of their way to try to destroy my life, close people in my circles. And I have to forgive. I have to forgive them. And I have to then love for them and even pray for them. That's where I'm at here. So just because I don't agree with your lifestyle doesn't mean I'm a homophobe at all. I have people close in my family who live an alternative lifestyle, and I love them very much. They're my family. I'm not a homophobe. So for you to think, if you don't get out and absolutely have the flag in front of your house and paint your car a rainbow and whatever, that you're a homophobe, like that's hate speech. So that's hate speech right there. Let's call it what it is, because I'm not a homophobe. I love you. But you are hating me because I say, no, I'm not going to get out and I'm not going to support this. It's not something that I don't support. Just because I don't support it doesn't mean I hate it. Doesn't mean I hate you. It's not for me. Thank you. And I don't think it should be taught in our schools. I don't think it should be promoted everywhere. I don't think it needs a parade. I really don't. Then everyone else needs a parade too. Like what? Like that's just me speaking truthfully. Or okay, yeah, you need a parade, then everyone else needs a parade too then. Every cause out there, every reason for everybody feeling happy about their life, which there's many things to feel happy about what you do. Sexual orientation, like do we have a day for all those that have been married for 25 years or more? That's their sexual orientation. They want to be monogamous to one partner. And that, to me, should be celebrated as well. 25 anniversary parade that people stayed married for 25. That's a miracle, by the way. So let's have a parade for that because you deserve it. And just because you have a certain sexual orientation, you deserve a parade because you want to kiss somebody who's of the same gender you are or whatever. Why does that deserve a parade, honestly? Like what? Like, and you could, like, it's a movement that's been hijacked. You don't realize that. Somebody has other motives and you ain't going to end up in a good place because of it. They're using your cause to stir up things in society and use it for political purposes. It's been weaponized. And sure, you might, be of the LGBTQ2S plus community and you're loved automatically by people. You don't need a parade. You don't need a flag outside somewhere to have self-worth. You're already worth something already. And the cause that is going out there, it's a political movement. It's to push forward laws and policies and agendas. It's not for you. It's being used. You're being used is what's happening. Okay? And anyways, so let's just talk about what these people that are promoting the very thing, right? This is a little, our government. It's right behind. So what's the end game with our government? A little foray, and we'll begin tomorrow's show where we left off here, right? This is the end game in our society.
It's been known for a very long time that pubescent girls in particular are sensitive to psychological epidemics. So there's a literature on that going back about 300 years. So that's how long the literature has been around. And that was Freudian hysteria, right, back in the late 1800s. And it just morphs into various forms, cutting and anorexia and bulimia, and now the gender transformation pathology. But I suspect that the next thing that's going to happen in Canada when the gender furor wears off, which it'll probably burn itself out in about 3 or 4 years, that would be my guess. But if the MAID people have their way, I've already seen, what would you say, romanticized death encounters distributed online. And so I think that'll be the next thing that'll confront us in Canada.
Well, here's what's really troubling about that, and nobody seems to know this. So I'd love the opportunity to talk about it because it's really concerning to me. So it's not only that it's MAID. People don't understand how MAID works. There's the track 1, the track 2, the immediate, the 90-day to end of life and all of that. And yes, they stayed the bill till 2027 to the next vote, right? So that's all great. So technically mental health's not included. But what I found out yesterday that really, really bothered me was the mechanism of the actual procedure. So there's this drug called sodium thiopental, and it's made in Italy, okay? So it's used by anesthesiologists. And the anesthesiologist that came forward with this at this testimony was, this individual had been an anesthesiologist for 25 years. He came forward with the Senate subcommittee talking about this with MAID and his concerns with it because MAID is being seen as compassionate and empathetic in care. So what he did is,
You know, the Nazi euthanasia program started with compassion and care, right?
I'm so glad you said that, because when I got to do trigonometry, we went to the war museums, and what terrified me the most was walking through the World War II portion and seeing the same verbiage.
Yeah, it's the same thing. Yeah, definitely.
People were telling me I was going crazy. I'm like, no, you don't understand.
No, it's the same thing.
It's identical.
Yeah, it's exactly the same
The
thing.
mentally ill, the people that are, So what's
People
really,
too distressed to live.
Thank you.
Right, and the categories keep expanding. Yeah.
and that's what we're seeing, the expansion. So the sodium thiopental, which was really wild about it, is this anesthesiologist was like, it's going missing. We don't have a lot of it. We can't get it anymore all of a sudden over this past couple of years. And so he started researching it. Well, it's made in Italy, and Italy falls under the EU. And under the EU laws, you can never make a drug that is going to be used for execution. But Canada, in North America, the United States and Canada had been using it for execution in America for death penalty. So they finally caught on to that. And anesthesiologists use it as one of the first drugs pushed to put you under. But here's what's really crazy is they said, well, there's got to be more to this. So they did it's a Freedom of Information Act with the NPR, with a journalist, and they got over 300 autopsies of individuals who were executed in America. And they didn't just get the autopsy kind of overview, they were given in-depth files. And when they went through them, 85% of those bodies showed a 2 times level increase of water in the lungs. So what was happening is when this drug is pushed, it causes a drowning. And it's stated as akin to dying by waterboarding or drowning. Meaning, the reason people in Canada who are given MAID seem peaceful is because they're giving a paralytic first. So they're completely paralyzed, then this drug is administered as one of the 4, and they start drowning to death. Okay? So that means that when it's done by IV, it takes 10 to 15 minutes. That person could be literally drowning. Well, they're drowning to death, but they could be screaming if they weren't under a paralytic. They're drowning to death. We waterboarded people in Guantanamo. There's a reason we had to stop. It falls under cruel and unusual punishment. Yet we are having people like dying with dignity say that this falls under compassion and empathy.
So here's another example, right, of something that's being told to us that is indeed one thing, but the actual result of what's happening. So we're given a drug that paralyzes us. We're supposed to be dying with dignity. It's done, this is our medical assistance in dying. This is our government coming out and really pushing this. And they wanted the mentally ill as part of this. Minors, 12 years old. So a 17-year-old could go to their doctor and say, I'm having a bad day. And the doctor says, you know what? Have you ever heard of this? And then you're offered this particular procedure. The parents are wondering where their teenager is. Didn't come home, call the hospital. What happened to my son? Oh, we can't tell you. It's it's confidential information. You're not allowed to know. And if the parents tried stopping the person from making that decision, they could be arrested, right? So this is the society we're getting into here. These are the people that support what we were just talking about earlier, that this movement has been hijacked. The movement's hijacked. It's not for you. This isn't for you. Their end game is, why are they trying to kill everyone off now? Like in this whole medical assistance thing. So we'll look at this full video tomorrow. We don't have enough time today, but that's where it all leads. It shows by their fruits, you'll know them basically by what they're doing, the end results. Why are they pushing so hard for this when really it's not a peaceful way of passing away? You're giving a drug and then you drown to death is basically what it is. But they can't do anything because they're paralyzed from the drug they were given previously. So if they were just given the drug that puts them out, then, it was peaceful, but that's not the truth. They go out in a horrible way of drowning. So a lot of issues going on here. There's a lot of big stuff. That's a lot of layers. And I apologize just for kind of giving it out discombobulated by the end of the show, but we'll begin tomorrow with the same. We'll pick up where we left off, and I appreciate you being on. Stay tuned now for Earshot Daily on CKLU 96.7 FM, and we'll see you same time, same place, God willing, tomorrow morning on Wednesday on the same great station. Make sure to like, share, take care, and have a great day, everyone. Ciao.
News Talk on the morning shift.